Faith Time is our regular conversation on matters of faith, and joining us today is Karlos Finley with Africatown Redevelopment Corporation and Heart of Mary School and Church. Good day to you, sir.
Good day.
All right, tell us a little bit about the school. In most recent history, it was on the brink of closure, and how was it saved?
It was saved by its alumni. And yes, we were having some financial difficulties, but once we reached out to the alumni, people really responded in a major way, so much so that we raised $450,000 in 1 month.
Wow, that is amazing. Why was it important to put that kind of effort into this institution to save Heart of Mary?
Well, you know, Heart of Mary is the community. And so when you have these kind of faith-based foundational community educational facilities and institutions, it's important that we preserve those, because obviously that's the keeper of the history. It's the griot of sorts of the community.
Let's talk about what makes this institution special. What are the things that keep this place having a unique place in Mobile?
It's the families.
Yeah.
You know, family is what Heart of Mary has been about from the beginning, and it's what it's about now. 124 years later, we've got many of the same families who have also joined together through marriage in many instances. And so we're always welcoming more family members into the family, but it's really the family that makes it what it is, and our faith in family.
Let's talk a little bit about the Mobile Archdiocese. What is Heart of Mary's connection to the Archdiocese, and are you guys independent from them, or how does it work?
We are independent. We are an independent, faith-based educational institution. And that occurred 3 years ago. We rent the property from the Archdiocese, but the school in and of itself is an independent, faith-based educational institution.
How do you think this church and school changes lives?
Oh my goodness, it's almost in countless ways, because when we talk about the history of Heart of Mary, for instance, people come here and they receive opportunities that they would not have in any other fashion. Point of interest, a gentleman by the name of Simi Knox. Simi Knox was a student of Heart of Mary in the 50s. He would grow to become the first African-American artist to paint the official portrait of an American president in William Clinton.
Oh, wow. That's really cool.
So he's an alumni. And so that's a special thing. And then when we throw in names like Major General J. Gary Cooper.
Who was that?
Major General J. Gary Cooper was the first African-American to lead a Marine Corps battalion into battle in the history of the United States Marine Corps. And then, of course, we've got former Secretary of Labor, Alexis Herman, who was the first African-American female to receive a cabinet post in a presidential cabinet as Secretary of Labor.
And she was an alumni of Heart of Mary as well?
That's correct.
Wow, that's great. And one of the things that somebody mentioned to me recently was the civil rights history with the church and the school. Can you talk a little bit about that history?
By all means. So Heart of Mary has the distinction of putting the Archdiocese on the right side of history, because our priests, our nuns, they marched in civil rights marches, they went to jail with civil rights activists, and they instilled that sense of pride in the students. The pride that lets us know wherever we go, whenever we walk in, we are as good as anyone else. We're not better than anyone else, but we are as good as anyone else. And that was instilled in us by our priests and nuns.
Talk to me about those efforts during that time many years ago. It's not just what Martin Luther King did and where he went, but it's these smaller groups in churches, usually in churches themselves. What are some of those actions that you think were important that the folks in Mobile did for civil rights?
So who you're describing are the foot soldiers.
Right.
And those are the people who were in the cities every day, who were doing the work every day of ensuring equality for all people, not just black people, but also for women, but for Hispanic people, for Asian people, for white people, for all people. That was the goal. And Heart of Mary was right there on the front lines. And so when there were marches at the Mobile Municipal Auditorium, the nuns were there. When the marchers were arrested, the nuns went to jail with the marchers. The priest went to jail with the marchers. It wasn't just, Martin Luther King, because quite frankly, the first march in Mobile didn't occur until 3 days after Dr. King was dead.
Interesting.
And the neighborhood organized workers who met weekly at Heart of Mary led that march. Also, Muhammad Ali came to town to speak at Heart of Mary. Ralph David Abernathy, Stokely Carmichael. Those were all leaders in the civil rights movement, and they came and they spoke to the people at Heart of Mary in Mobile, Alabama.
How do you instill that history as part of the curriculum for the kids that go there?
It's the history. So history and religion classes are virtually the same, because you're giving the religious history of the doctrine, but by the same time, you also tie in the works that people have done in accordance with that faith from the time of Christ until today.
Tell me about the education that the kids get there, particularly with the religious education. Why do you think a religious education is important to youth?
Well, it's not so much religion, but it's faith and spirituality. And those are very different things.
Well, what's the delineation in your mind?
So religion is man-made.
Okay.
Each one of them came about as something that a person, a human being did. I mean, for the first 1,500 years after Christ's death, there was only the Catholic Church. And then Martin Luther separated from there, and then the Anglicans separated from him. So we stick to the base, which is the faith, that personal relationship that each of us has with the God that's inside of us. And so we teach from that perspective, but we also teach the historic nature of things that have happened through the years, through the centuries, through the ages, quite frankly. And that gives an individual a real sense of self-awareness and belonging, because the goal is to connect the children, the people, to the religion, the work, the spirituality, the faith that has happened over the centuries. That gives one a sense of self, so that when things get tough, as they always do, you have that place within you that you can seek, where your faith will bring you through.
I don't want to get too in the weeds here, but,
It's okay.
but I'm curious about your religious education at Heart of Mary. Is it still sticking to Catholic teachings, or is it a wider faith base?
There is only one Bible.
Okay.
And whether you're a Catholic, a Baptist, a Protestant, a Methodist, you teach from that doctrine. We teach from that doctrine.
Okay, but there are a number of different translations and versions of the Bible, St. James, NIV. I mean,
well, if you're talking about the King James version,
I'm sorry, yes, King James,
and the NIV, those are all translations, but the meaning remains the same. So you're talking about languages.
Yes.
Okay. But the meaning is still the same. We all know the original Bible was written in Hebrew.
Right.
And nobody reads Hebrew today. And so we have translations of that Hebrew Bible that went to the Greeks and then to the European English Church of England, and then eventually into the United States of America.
Talk to me about what your connection is to the school. Why do you love it so much that you are a part of it?
Well, I could never give back to Heart of Mary what it has given to me, first and foremost. And so all of my efforts go towards creating that environment for another little boy in Mobile, Alabama, or girl, to grow up and know and understand who they are and be able to accomplish the goals in life that they want to. I want to give each of our 110 children that we have on the rolls this year the same opportunities that were given to me, so that they can grow up and become whatever they want to be, however they want to be it, and take my place. in the community.
Yeah, talk to me about what you believe that the school and the church has given to you that you don't think you could repay. Is it confidence, education? How would you define it?
It's all of those things.
Okay.
So, of course, the education foundation is important, and that thirst for knowledge. You see, we go through kindergarten, the 12th grade, and we learn because they make us learn.
Right.
But what happens in sort of a metamorphosis through that process, if you've got good teachers and you've got good leaders, is it develops a thirst for learning in an individual. And that thirst can never be quenched. And so I'm looking to give that to another generation. Obviously, we've been open since 1901. So we've shared that with many generations. And the goal is to continue to share that with generations to come.
I often think about the idea of having a thirst for learning, and I've got kids that are in the middle school age that are not thrilled with the learning part. How do you instill that love of learning? Because me as an adult, now that I'm an adult, I do have that desire to learn new things and get more stuff coming in. So how do you instill that in a child that may not want that?
You apply it to things that they see today.
Okay.
Because as we know as adults, history is cyclical. It moves linear, but it's cyclical. And so many things that have happened in the past are happening today. And when you can relate those things in a child's mind, they become interested. The biggest thing is that we tell history the way that it happened. You can't whitewash it. You can't make it this thing that it never was. Yeah. And when you tell and you teach history the way that it happened, there's nothing more exciting, because there's been some incredible things that have happened in the history of the world.
And a lot of that history comes from Heart of Mary. Karlos Finley, we thank you for joining us for this edition of Faith Time on News 5.
My pleasure.